needed, when you can free up that energy in your body. Even the fasting is related. She's doing the fasting. So what she's done now is in the morning, she's not loading her body down with a lot of food, especially not sugar and bread and the things that steal all of that energy from her body. Now she's maintaining that energy and she's using it to help herself heal. Hello and welcome back. I'm Kelly with Inspired Nutrition, and today again I will be speaking with Dr. Rudy Cashman, and we'll be talking about fasting, intermittent fasting. What is it? What are the benefits? How do you do it? And I'll be asking Dr. Cashman some questions, and hopefully we'll be on the right track. Huh?
Thank you for the introduction, Kelly. I mean, fasting is the fastest road to health. Yes, I mean, it's a very interesting subject. You might say, is this something new we've just been doing for the last few years? No, people have been fasting for thousands of years. Matter of fact, nature, God, whatever, arranged it as such because food was seasonal. We eat fruit certain times of the year. Then eventually the agricultural age took place 10,000 years ago, and food was more readily available. But in biblical times, every religion, fasting is part of it. They still do it today. How long can you, there are many different ways of fasting. I mean, you could skip food for a while, also flow it with it, but that's a little more dangerous. The best way to fast, at least, taking some water or some coffee or some tea.
I really want to get into the schedule of how you fast. But even, the idea of fasting, like you say, it's so inbred into our history as people. But I know when I was growing up, I was always told you have to have 3 meals a day, you have to have breakfast. If you don't eat for a while, then you do damage. Maybe you could starve yourself. Or I've heard the thing where, you'll just start losing muscle, and then as soon as you eat, you'll gain all the weight back. And those are the kind of things that I've always heard of growing up. But that's not the truth.
Yeah, it's actually very simple to do, but it has a complex history. Almost every religion adapted it, and we use it. Many use it in churches today. They'll have an overnight fast, or some have a 40-day fast. Actually, there's been a person in the literature who fasted for 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah, he was like the animals that we look at that hibernate
like
overnight.
Yeah,
like a bear. Is that person was living off the fat on their body the whole time, and their blood sugar levels stayed reasonable the whole darn time. But let's speak about how we can use it today. Actually, I'm fasting. I don't deliberately do it such, but when I wake up in the morning at, usually at 5 o'clock or so, I start doing a little bit of reading. I enjoy it, and I watch the bird feeders, see if any deer come by, and then the birds eventually arrive, and then it becomes light at 7:20. But I'm not eating anything. I'm having some coffee, and I myself don't eat till 10, 12 o'clock.
Okay,
so I've been fasting since the night before. I ate 6 p.m. the night before.
And what's the benefit of that in the morning?
And the benefit of that is that in this time, I do 16. You can do different periods of time. You can fast for days or hours. I teach a simple way, something that most of us could do, is 16-8. So for 16 hours, I don't eat, but I don't get hungry. I don't have an appetite. It's 9 o'clock and I'm still not hungry. And the reason is our body secretes hormones that raise our blood sugar level. Like at 4 a.m. towards morning, because of circadian rhythm that's within our bodies will secrete adrenaline, epinephrine from the adrenal gland, which is a reaction to, well, the morning stresses we might face. And the blood sugar goes up, and it goes, when during the night it might have been, on average 70 or 80, it raises to about 80, 90, or 100. Also, growth hormone made by our pituitary gland gets secreted, and that raises the blood sugar level. So, and this is really good for us. Meanwhile, in the time that I am not eating, our body is undergoing what's called automatic phagia, autophagia, which is self-digestion. Cells that have been injured in the previous day or during the night will be removed from your body, and you'll breathe them out, or urinate them out, or go out the other end, and your body is being cleansed. And this is just wonderful. Meanwhile, your blood sugar is very steady. That's why you're not hungry. So to give yourself this amount of time, autophagia is very important. Some cells die. That's called apoptosis, and you get rid of those. And that could be cancer cells, for example. Our body is injuring cells all day long. It goes on in the billions every day, except our immunity is taking care of it. We're eliminating them, or we are repairing them. If you are diabetic and you're fasting, unless you're taking a shot or something, and your blood sugar level really dies because you took a shot of insulin, the blood sugar, remember I said, it stays very steady, and if you're not eating, the insulin level is dropping down because the sugar level is dropping down, and when it gets low enough, it opens up your fat cells. The fat cells go to the liver and are turned into ketones, a water-soluble, very small molecule which the body loves. It makes you very energetic, you feel good. Even your brain can use it. We didn't know that until about 20, 30 years ago. Your brain can run on ketones. So when you're fasting like that, remember I said it's the quickest way to health. You will lose weight quite easily because you're living off fat energy, ketone energy. So you are losing weight, you feel wonderful and energetic because you're in ketone now. When you fast, the blood sugar will drop because you're not eating. First, the glycogen, which is complex sugar, which is stored in the liver, usually about 100 grams, and there's some in your muscles too, gets used first. So, and it generally takes about 18, 24 hours for the glycogen to get used out before we start going into ketones.
So 24 hours.
About 24 hours, yeah. To get into true ketone use can take 2 or 3 days sometimes.
Okay.
And you can get what's called a ketone flu, but you don't feel quite right. Many people don't get it, but some do. And then you continue with the fast. And like I said, some people fast a day or 2 or 3 or 40 days, during Lent, for example. Different religions have different systems, but you and I recommend that people use like the 16-8 because it's easy to do.
What is the 16 and what is the 8?
Yeah, the 16 is when you're not eating. The 8 is when you are eating.
Okay.
And in a real easy way, if you want to really speed up things to get to good health, I personally think you can get rid of type 2 diabetes 3 weeks, maybe even quicker. Yeah, maybe even quicker by doing it this way. You're getting thinner, your blood sugar is very stable because of the hormones that I spoke about. Growth hormone is being secreted because you're fasting, and that rejuvenates your body. Your skin looks better. You look younger. Remember what our goal is? To look young when we die at 100.
Yes.
I want to be dancing with you. And to get rid of diabetes, they call it Rudy's war on diabetes. Why did I use the word war? Because we're just touching the issue. It's a epidemic, endemic, pandemic across the world, and we need to not just touch the issue and let people have the diseases from diabetes, dementia, thyroid disease, blindness, gum disease, bacteria love to eat sugar, thyroid disease. Some 50% of the people who die from a heart attack just grab their chest and they die. 80% of renal disease is due to diabetes, and amputations, dislocations, joint problems, arthritis, eczema. All these are caused by illnesses as a result of diabetes, and you can prevent them, stop them, reverse them. That's the wonderful news that we're bringing. And the bottom line, though, is, I tell you, it's cooking. And Kelly has wonderful recipes, which we can find on her website. And the website is diabetessupportfw.com.
Correct.
That's our website.
That's right.
Which will open up a world of information, different posts,
Videos and books.
videos and books, and you'll be healthy. But the beauty of this is it's quick. Tell us about some of your success stories. Tell about Pam, our wonderful patient.
Okay,
Yeah.
we've been working with Pam. Gosh, it's probably been 2 years now.
Yeah.
Probably 2 years now. We meet with her once a week, and when she first came to us, she was, stage 4.
Yeah.
For
Stage 4 to
kidney.
5 kidney disease.
Yeah, 4 to 5, and
Yeah.
we were really able to change
Yeah.
her filter rate, which is kind of what you
Yeah,
GFR.
and you taught her what
Yes.
food to eat.
Mhm,
didn't you?
Exactly. So, we took a lot of the foods that were, of course, overly processed and overworking her body. As a result of just taking out a lot of the sugar and teaching her how to add
Yeah.
healthy replacements, we were able to take her out of the diagnosis of diabetes to get those numbers better. And her kidney disease has really come quite a ways as well. So it's all really related. When you can free up that energy in your body. Even the fasting is related. She's doing the fasting. So what she's done now is in the morning, she's not loading her body down with a lot of food, especially not sugar and bread and the things that steal all of that energy from her body. Now she's maintaining that energy and she's using it to help herself heal. And so
and she
all
does
comes
fasting
together.
every day.
She does.
She doesn't eat till 10, 11, or 12 o'clock. What do we basically recommend? Let's review that a little bit, which will now follow videos. We'll have that more detail, but generally, if you look at a food pyramid, we would say you've got to learn what are good fats, and to eat 50 to 60% fat diet. Remember, if you're eating good fats, we're not talking about bad fats, good fats, guacamole, for example, would be a good fat, good fat,
Yeah.
and olive oil.
Yes.
And,
yes. Olive oil, your omega-3s, walnuts, like you said, avocado. Also, animal proteins are good, but they're only as good as their source. So eggs are an excellent example. Go spend the extra few dollars and get yourself some organic eggs. If you're gonna choose beef, if you're gonna choose to eat beef, there's a world of difference between, your standard beef and then beef where where the animals were raised really with dignity, were like fed well and treated well, and that results a lot in the nutrients that you're going to extract from that animal. Again, we'll say it, if it's not in the earth, it's not in the plant, it's not in the animal, and it's not in you. So take a look at where that fat came from. If it came from an animal who was fed well, then it's going to be high in omega-3s, which is anti-inflammatory, which is good fat. If it's been fed in an improper way, if it's an industry type of meat, then it's going to be high in omega-6 and omega-9, which are inflammatory. So it's a world of difference if you take a look at the quality of the
what
fats.
you eat, you need to know what that animal ate.
Yeah.
Because a lot of animals today, they put at these farms, that can be the trough they feed going by could be 5 miles long. They are in Kansas City, and that animal isn't eating nothing but corn. So when you eat that animal meat, what are you eating? Corn. I've even had animal food. I even had a piece of salmon. They'll even take fish and put them on farms instead of in the ocean. Where did that salmon come from? Somebody at the Country Club recently, I took a big-time executive of a pizza company. We were having lunch, and it said Scottish salmon. But I already knew the answer. That didn't come from Scotland. It came from a fish farm. So I said, what does that salmon taste like? I asked him. He said, Rudy, it tastes like corn.
Wow.
I said, yeah, you got it right, Dave. This fish ate corn. So it's important, where that you shop at proper places to know where did that come from? What's the color of it? What's the taste of it? Or ask the person, hopefully they're honest, and tell you. But we sort of recommend 50, 60, even 70% good food from good fats. Because when you're eating good fats, your sugar level doesn't go up, which means your insulin level doesn't go up. And you'll be a lot healthier. And it'll suppress your appetite too. It will turn off your appetite, and you won't be very hungry. Matter of fact, I highly recommend it. You don't have to do it this way, or you maybe slowly transition this way, but to fast. Now, if you eat your first meal like myself at 10 or 12, and I have some eggs and guacamole or something like that, and I eat again at 6 o'clock, I fasted. I had 2 meals, and I think you'd have trouble finding any fat on my body. That wasn't always this way. I learned this. My dad had a deli in New York. I know what bad food is. But that's easy. Let me tell you what happened to me today. I was going to had a meeting with other people that teach nutrition today. They wanted information from me, and I didn't eat breakfast because I was going to have lunch with them. Well, I got there a little bit late because there's something else to do, and I was not served any lunch. But I wasn't hungry. I mean, I could have said, "Would you bring me?" And I didn't. So I came all the way here. I've had nothing to eat all day. I'm not even hungry. Why is that? Because I think the stresses of the day, the activity of the day, and what I'm doing is my blood sugar must be very even. And so today maybe I eat 1 meal. I don't do that very often. But it does seem, when you think of the science, remember what the science of fasting is. The growth hormone gets secreted, adrenaline, cortisone gets secreted, and that's what keeps the sugar level up. And if the sugar level was down, believe me, I'd be running for something to eat.
It's like the more you eat sugar, the more you crave it.
The more you crave it. And sugar is the booger and the hooker, no doubt about it. But how much protein do we recommend? Only about 20%. Yeah. The body is so organized that 80% of the proteins which break down into amino acids are recycled every day. So any muscle activity or anything you did, walking, whatever, 80% of those proteins, which go to amino acids, are recycled. So you only need to take in about 20, which can be essential that you need some, okay? And they can be gotten, actually, the majority could be gotten from vegetables. Be knowledgeable a little bit though about gluten and lectins. These are proteins that are in wheat and nightshades, as you can react to them. So you need to be aware that if you have a chronic disease, it could be to a gluten problem or lectin problem, something that's a little more detailed. We'll talk a little bit more about that on other videos. But the most common problem that people have today is type 2 diabetes, which causes those other diseases. Type 2 diabetes is not a disease. It's because in 20% of the people that are of normal weight, say, I'm of normal weight, I couldn't have diabetes. Wrong. 20% of the people do have diabetes, and you need to get blood testing done. That's very important. Get blood sugar and serum insulin. Also get GFR, glomerular filtration rate, glomeruli, what's in your kidneys, millions of them that filter your blood and urine. You want to know what your situation with your kidneys are and see if there's some inflammation in your body, getting CRP and maybe triglycerides, TRI. Cholesterol level can be important, but the good cholesterol actually flows through your body. It doesn't harm anything. You do need some cholesterol in your body because it forms a membrane of the cells in your body. Every cell in this membrane has some cholesterol in it, so you need some. So when they say they want to give you a bunch of medication because your cholesterol level's up, it's the very low density LDL that makes holes in your arteries. That figure's important, VLDL. But the big figure may not be that important. So before you take drugs that have side effects, you kind of need to understand the science a little bit. Don't just accept script to the ill when actually you can change your health habits and not need to take that expensive medication, which has some side effects. Kelly, do you teach every patient a little bit about fasting?
Absolutely.
Every one of them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so, we also talk about kind of what to do before and after. For me, I think it's helpful, especially when you go to bed on an empty stomach. That's really important, to give yourself a good hour or so before you go to bed. Drink some water. That's really important. Then in the morning, I like lemon water a lot even when I'm fasting. And that lemon, that citrus kind of cuts through your stomach acid a little bit, like in the morning. And for me, if I'm struggling a little bit with it, a nice cool glass of lemon water, nice big water, it's really just gonna kind of, flush and really it's energizing in the morning. But with the people I work with, we also talk about the mindset of it, because we just get in habits. That's how we are as people. And if you're used to getting up every morning and sitting down and having that breakfast or starting your day that way, you may not even recognize what true hunger is anymore. Maybe it's just a habit. It's the time of day that you eat, and this is how you do it every day. So there's some reprogramming that has to happen there.
I think you have a good point
when
there,
you're
Kelly.
not skipping a meal.
Especially you go into the airport and you're going out of town, you feel like, I gotta have something to eat.
Yes.
No, you don't. You might say to yourself, am I actually hungry?
Yes.
No, I'm not. Have a cup of coffee or lemon juice, not citrus juices, because they have sugars in them. They'll drop your insulin will respond and drop your blood sugar, and then you feel too tired. So eating oranges is a great idea when you have your breakfast, but eat the whole thing. Don't drink it as a juice, because it will drop your sugars.
Yeah, you want the
very
fiber.
Quick. You want the fiber to be healthy. So what are we saying here today? 50-70% good fats. Learn what good fats are. Okay. About 20% protein. if you eat too much protein, which you can, I know muscle builders and they are gonna have my protein, you know what the problem is. Your body only needs a certain amount of protein, 80% is recycled. If you're eating too much protein, you know what happens? It gets converted to sugar. Yes, you want to increase your sugar level. This breakdown of protein can do that. So these muscle builders who take these protein supplements and eat 7 steaks a week and real big ones who think they're building their muscles, I tell you what they're doing is turning themselves into diabetics, or what they think is muscle is actually fat, actually body fat. I mean, we need a certain amount of body fat, but a lot of it, especially say in a thin person who could be diabetic, the fat is in their liver, it's in the pancreas, and if it's in the pancreas, it impairs insulin secretion. They may be diabetic and eligible for those illnesses. So you need to become more knowledgeable by watching all the DVDs and in our post. But if you're inclined to read a little more, absolutely the best book on this is The Complete Guide to Fasting by Jason Fung, F-E-N-G, and Jimmy Moore. I'll hold it up for you. You can get it in the library.
I'll also have a link to this in the notes.
Yeah. This is just fantastic with diagrams and Jason Fung, just tell you a little bit about him, was a renal doctor. Took care of kidneys. And you know what he found out? All the patients he was looking at, they're all diabetics. And he thought, you know, if I could help people get rid of their diabetes, I wouldn't be seeing these patients. It's exactly as an honest man he did. He formed a huge clinic where he's teaching wellness. He's on YouTube all over the place. Has written many books on obesity, on renal disease, on fasting. This is a great book. Jason Fung, just look on Amazon books and you'll see them all light up. And one may fit an illness you have. You might do a little more reading. But so a combination, what Kelly and I post, what other people are writing about. So I want you to gain information because I want you to be healthy and feel good. And myself at age 39 for the 46th time, no pills, play pickleball, tap dance.
Yeah.
Do teaching with you, Kelly, who's a little bit younger than me. and we just love doing this.
Definitely. And don't forget to check out the website, again, like you mentioned, the Diabetes Support, FW.com. And on there, we do have a fasting guide. We have a newsletter that you can sign up for and a plethora of information.